This is the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Well, it's not quite the story like you might know it, because this one is full of magical creatures and heartwarming love. So, snug tight under your blanket and get as comfy as you can, as we now begin the adventures of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a quaint and peaceful village, there lived a charming young girl named Rosie, also known as Little Red Riding Hood. She was known and adored by everyone in the village, with her heartwarming smile and gentle nature. Rosie was easily recognizable by her vibrant red cloak, which she wore every day. This lovely cloak was a precious gift from her doting grandmother, who lived on the other side of the enchanting forest that separated their homes. Rosie's grandmother had meticulously sewn the cloak with love, care, and a touch of magic, making it an extraordinary garment that Rosie wore with immense pride. One beautiful sunny morning, when the sky was a tapestry of brilliant oranges and pinks, Rosie's mother called her into the cozy kitchen. The delightful aroma of freshly baked treats wafted through the air as Rosie's mother carefully arranged them in a wicker basket. "Rosie, my dear," her mother said softly, "I'd like you to take this basket of treats to your grandmother's house. She hasn't been feeling well lately, and these goodies will surely brighten her day." Rosie's eyes sparkled with excitement at the prospect of visiting her grandmother and sharing the delicious treats. However, her mother's gentle voice turned serious as she issued a warning. "Rosie, you must promise me that to stay on the path and never talk to strangers, no matter how friendly they may seem." Rosie nodded solemnly, understanding the importance of her mother's words. Eager to begin her adventure, she draped her red cloak over her shoulders, picked up the basket of treats, and set off on her journey through the magical forest. The forest was a wonderland filled with mesmerizing beauty. Towering trees with leaves that whispered secrets to each other in the gentle breeze lined the path, and vibrant flowers of every hue adorned the forest floor. Rosie marveled at her surroundings as the sun's golden rays filtered through the canopy, casting captivating patterns on the ground. The air was alive with the sweet melodies of birds singing their hearts out, while squirrels chattered and playfully chased each other through the branches above. As Rosie continued along the path, she noticed the delicate fairies that flitted among the flowers. Their wings shimmered with a dusting of magic, and they seemed to be guiding her along her journey. Intrigued, Rosie observed as they sprinkled their fairy dust on the plants, causing them to bloom in a dazzling array of colors. The fairies, sensing Rosie's pure heart, decided to keep a watchful eye on her during her journey. They knew that the forest was full of magical creatures, some kind-hearted and some with wicked intentions. The fairies wished to ensure that Rosie reached her grandmother's house safely. Before long, Rosie found herself at a fork in the path. Unsure of which way to go, she paused for a moment, looking for a sign to guide her. Sensing her confusion, the fairies whispered amongst themselves and decided to send one of their own to help Rosie. A tiny fairy with sapphire wings fluttered down to Rosie and, with a voice as soft as a breeze, said, "Your grandmother's house lies along the right path. Stay true to your course, and you'll be there in no time." Grateful for the fairy's guidance, Rosie thanked her and continued down the path the fairy had indicated. As she walked, the fairies kept a watchful eye on her from a distance, making sure she remained on the correct path. However, Rosie soon encountered a cunning wolf with fur the color of autumn leaves. The wolf, sensing an opportunity for mischief, approached Rosie with a sly grin. "Hello, young lady," the wolf greeted her. "Are you lost? I know this forest well and would be happy to help you find your way." Rosie hesitated, remembering her mother's warning. But the wolf seemed kind and knowledgeable, and she momentarily forgot the guidance of the fairies. She decided to trust the wolf and told him she was on her way to her grandmother's house. The wolf, stifling a wicked chuckle, pointed to the left path. "Your grandmother's house is that way," he lied, his eyes gleaming with deceit. "Just follow the path, and you'll be there in no time." Rosie thanked the wolf and continued down the path he had indicated. As she walked, she couldn't help but notice the forest seemed darker and more mysterious. The cheerful birdsong was replaced by an eerie silence, and the once colorful flowers seemed to wither away. The fairies, who had been watching from a distance, realized the danger Rosie was in and decided to intervene. They fluttered ahead, using their magic to help Rosie find her way back to the correct path. The fairies whispered words of encouragement to her, and soon Rosie began to notice the forest returning to its enchanting state. The birdsong returned, and the flowers bloomed anew. Unbeknownst to Rosie, the sly wolf had tricked her so he could get to her grandmother's house first. The cunning wolf raced ahead, planning to gobble up both Rosie's grandmother and the delicious treats in Rosie's basket. Meanwhile, the friendly woodsman, who had been working nearby, chopping firewood for the villagers, had witnessed the wolf's deception. Concerned for Rosie's safety, he decided to follow her and ensure she reached her grandmother's house unharmed. The woodsman caught up to Rosie just as the fairies guided her back to the right path. "Don't worry, little one," he said gently. "I know the way to your grandmother's house. Follow me, and we'll get there safely." Relieved, Rosie followed the woodsman along the correct path, grateful for his help and the guidance of the fairies. The fairies continued to watch over Rosie, their shimmering wings casting a warm glow around her as they walked. Meanwhile, at the grandmother's house, the sly wolf had arrived and knocked on the door. When Rosie's grandmother opened it, the wolf quickly pushed past her and gobbled her up in one swift motion. Then, he disguised himself as her grandmother, putting on her nightgown and bonnet and settling into her bed to await Rosie's arrival. When Rosie, the woodsman, and the fairies reached the house, they found the door slightly ajar. Sensing something was wrong, the woodsman told Rosie to stay outside while he and the fairies checked inside. The woodsman entered the house, axe in hand, and crept towards the bedroom. There, he saw the wolf disguised as Rosie's grandmother, snoring loudly in the bed. With the help of the fairies and their magic, the woodsman defeated the cunning wolf and freed Rosie's grandmother from the wolf's belly, unharmed. Rosie and her grandmother hugged each other tightly, grateful to be reunited. They thanked the woodsman and the fairies for their bravery and for saving them from the sly wolf. Afterward, Rosie, her grandmother, the woodsman, and the fairies sat down to enjoy the delicious treats from the basket. As they feasted, they laughed and shared stories of their adventure, the magical creatures they had encountered, and the lessons they had learned. From that day on, Rosie always remembered her mother's advice to stay on the path and never talk to strangers. She wore her red cloak with pride, knowing that she had learned a valuable lesson and that she was loved and protected by her family, friends, and the magical creatures of the forest. Rosie's adventure became a treasured tale among the villagers, and children would often listen with wide-eyed wonder as the story was told. The fairies continued to watch over the village and its inhabitants, keeping them safe from harm and spreading their magic throughout the land. As for the woodsman, he became a close friend of Rosie and her family, and they often shared stories and laughter around the cozy hearth in Rosie's home. They were grateful for his courage and for the magical fairies that had guided them during their time of need. Rosie's red cloak, imbued with the love of her grandmother and the magic of the fairies, became a symbol of strength, love, and wisdom. It was a constant reminder that even in the face of danger and deceit, the love of family and friends, and the magic of the world around her would always be there to guide her on her journey through life. And that, dear child, is the end of our tale. May it serve as a reminder to always trust in the love of family and friends, and to believe in the magic that exists within us all. Good night, little one. May you have sweet dreams filled with enchanting forests, magical creatures, and the love of those who care for you. Wake up to a beautiful new day, ready to create your own adventures and weave your own magical stories.